Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. We know that Heroic version of Molten Core will be coming out eventually. It has been in the files for some weeks now, and Blizzard has not yet announced a release date for Heroic Molten Core, and Heroic Molten Core is still incomplete. But I went through all of the game files that we currently have, which include, by the way, the Heroic Siege of Ironforge, which is coming on Wednesday. That's going to be fun. We're going to talk about that in another video. But in this one, I want to take a look at the current state of Heroic Molten Core. We don't know the levels of Heroic Molten Core yet. In the game files, nothing has changed with the levels yet. Lucifer is still 23, Ragnaros is still 29. We don't know if they're going to be adjusted. I do expect them to be. But there are some pretty juicy mechanics already in the files, even though the files are vastly incomplete. Obviously, these files also are not the full progress of Blizzard. Blizzard has undoubtedly done more about Heroic Molten Core than it's currently in the game files. But we can take a little bit of a look and get a little bit of an idea on how to prepare for the Heroic version. Albeit we don't yet know if it's going to come next time or if it's going to come a little bit later. The most complete heroic fight at the moment in the files is Lucifer. Lucifer is going to get a health increase from 12,000 to 15,000. Well, according to the current files, obviously these can still change. Fire elementals are going to spawn more frequently. They currently spawn every 120 seconds. That's going to be down to 90 seconds. Lucifer attack damage has been increased from 160 to 250. There's an extra gold man also on the map. And then the Dominators. The Dominator Lieutenants of Lucifer. They are going to be a huge pain in Heroic. Their health is going up from 1400 to 2000. They're going to gain a self-heal, 2% every single second. So they're going to start healing themselves. They're going to get a damage reflect, 120 elemental damage on hit, not from damage over time effects, but every time your mini hits one of the Dominator Lieutenants, it's going to take damage in return. So using something like a skeleton party, small minis, they're just going to kill themselves trying to kill a Dominator Lieutenant. And the Dominator minis are also going to have permanent bloodlust. So this looks pretty interesting. There are currently some strategies on Lucifer where you just try to raise Lucifer with unbounds. Obviously the health increase, which is quite sizable, that's a 25% health increase, might make racing a little bit more difficult. And then how do you handle those Dominators? I mean, Execute is already a good way, and Execute might be the way in order to survive Heroic. Anyway, looks like a fun and even more challenging fight. There's not much in the files yet about Heroic Magmadar, just a health increase also from 12,000 to 15,000. Gehenna's and Shasra Heroic looks really interesting. There's not a lot of changes about it, but these are going to fundamentally change the way the fight goes. Gehenna's health is going to be increased from 8,000 to 10,000. Gehenna's is the red one. And Shasra, the blue one, health is going to be increased from 8,000 to 12,000, so a whopping plus 50% health. And the Flamewaker Elites, those are the ones that spawn on the sides. Gehenna's walks on the side and summons a Flamewaker Elite, and then that's going to start channeling, and then it's going to release the Lava Wave. And they are going to get a lot of health. They currently have only 200 health, so you look at them and they die, but they're going to have 1,500 health, so good luck trying to interrupt the lava waves, I guess. And if you don't interrupt the lava waves, they are going to go further than they do currently, and they're going to deal 15% damage to base. So if you take a few lava waves, then that's bye-bye your barracks. That's going to look a lot more difficult fight than the pushover it currently is in normal. Gar also hasn't been implemented in the files yet, just a health increase from 12,000 to 15,000. Armageddon, on the other hand, has some interesting changes. The Living Bomb talent has been changed from Blast Radius to Burden of Fate. I actually think that might make Living Bomb a little bit weaker, but anyway, Griffin Rider and Bat Rider have been removed from Geddon's deck. And Geddon's deck now also includes a Dark Miner with Dwarven Ambition. So Heroic Geddon will have a deck of only 5 minis. 4 of them are going to be in the hand, so Geddon can play one other mini and then he can play the same mini again. And there's one unbound with the Dark Miner. There's one spell with the Living Bomb, and that means that you can't lock Geddon's hand. Like you can currently play until overtime, you can take all the towers, and then Geddon can use Living Bomb once, and then Geddon can't do anything anymore in normal. It's not one of the favorite strategies to use, but it's still a viable strategy. However, the Heroic Geddon with this deck, if you take all the towers, then Geddon is just going to play Dark Eye Miner in the Living Bomb, into Dark Eye Miner in the Living Bomb, into Dark Eye Miner in the Living Bomb. So there's going to be a lot of living bombing if you have all the towers. And of course, Dark Eye Miner is going to compete with you for the gold. and give more gold to Geddon. So yeah, Heroic Geddon also looks quite a challenge. There's not a whole lot included with Heroic Golmak yet. The middle tower is a Dragon Tower, and then the boss rune, Incinerate damage radius, has been increased from 6 to 12. I first thought that this was also going to apply to all the towers, but now that I looked a little bit more carefully, it told me that look a little better, and then I noticed that the towers actually still use the normal mechanic, and it's only the boss rune that uses the increased radius. I don't know exactly what that's going to mean. I mean, if you go through middle, then at least there, the boss rune is probably going to burn your flyers. Maybe it's also going to burn your flyers if you try to go through the sides, so you might need to go with some kind of death ball strategy here. We'll see. Anyway, a little bit of something that's probably going to be more for Golmak Heroic. And as for the big boss himself, Heroic Ragnaros, no changes yet. Nothing in the files about Heroic Ragnaros. So we have 3 bosses that have some quite significant changes that will require adaptation in your strategies. Maybe 4 if you count Golmak as well, even though Golmak doesn't have that many changes yet. And then we have some bosses that don't have much of anything yet in the current files. And of course Blizzard is going to be further along in development. So overall, Heroic Molten Core is coming along nicely. I don't know if it's going to be released in 2 weeks. Like after Siege of Ironforge there's another Molten Core, or if that's still going to be a normal and then Heroic will come maybe after. I mean, it's kind of hard to see them pushing it out for months from this point anymore, because they're already adding a lot of mechanics and making the changes. But anyway, Heroic Molten Core, really looking forward to that, and here's what we know so far. Obviously, all of this stuff can still change, but if you want to start thinking about, okay, what sort of strategies would I apply for Heroic Molten Core, then this can give you some food for thought. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members, and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.